Hello and welcome to the next episode of my channel where I'll be taking up the lesson Iswaran the Storyteller, and this chapter is in the Moments book of CBSE class 9th. So in this chapter we are going to read about a junior supervisor called Mahendra and his domestic help called Iswaran. Now because Mahendra was a junior supervisor at construction site, he had to stay at various undeveloped places like factory sites, bridges and makeshift tents. Sometimes he had to stay in a temporary house, but wherever he went, he took Iswaran along. Now Iswaran was an asset to Mahendra. Now what do you mean by asset? A valuable property. Now Mahendra was a bachelor and his needs were very simple. He was able to adjust himself at odd conditions. Why? Because he had a great asset. Who was it? Iswaran. He used to cook for him, he used to wash his clothes, and he used to give him company. And at night when Mahendra used to come back all tired, he had Iswaran to narrate various types of stories and anecdotes. And the way Iswaran narrated the stories was very interesting. Okay. Now Iswaran had a great power, we can say, a great talent he had, that even though whenever they used to go to a desolate area where there were no shops or nothing, Iswaran would miraculously conjure all kind of ingredients required to make a particular dish. So obviously he was an asset for Mahendra. Getting good food, things are done at home, washing is done, cleaning is done, cooking is done, everything is sorted, all because of Iswaran. Now when Mahendra was at office, Iswaran would take a leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water over his head, muttering a prayer all the while. And while he was doing all these things, he used to read Tamil books, Tamil thrillers. So most of his stories were influenced by Tamil books. Okay, and everything which Iswaran narrated was narrated in such a manner that it was filled with suspense and surprise and everything. Like for example, if Iswaran had to say that he saw a tree fallen on the road, he would not say it directly. Instead, he would say that when he was going somewhere, he saw a beast lying on the street, hands and legs all stretched. But when he went near it, he saw it was a tree. So the way he narrated anything and everything was very interesting, and Mahendra used to sit and listen to his stories and anecdotes. Anecdotes means day-to-day events without questioning him. He enjoyed it, or without questioning the credibility of the story. Now one such anecdote which Iswaran narrated was of his childhood. The place where he grew up was famous for timber, and elephants were used to haul the timber. Now once an elephant had gone mad and it was breaking and stamping everything. It entered Iswaran's school. While all the teachers locked themselves and all the students locked themselves and teachers were peeping from the terrace, nobody had the guts to do anything about the elephant. Iswaran took a cane from the teacher, that is a stick, and went and hit on the elephant's third toe nail, because of which the elephant lay unconscious for the next 2 days. After which a Mahat had to be called to take him back to the jungle. So to us, Iswaran's story does not seem to be worth believing, but Mahendra used to enjoy listening to it. Now Iswaran also had a habit. He would leave the story somewhere in the cliffhanger, somewhere in the middle, and go and do some work. When he came back, after the work was done, he never started the story from there. He would wait for Mahendra to ask him to continue before he continued further. Okay, this is how Iswaran narrated the story. And whenever he narrated the story, he copied the characters also of the story. while narrating. Like for example, if he's telling the story of the elephant, he would stamp his feet like the elephant was doing. Now one morning actually, when Mahendra was having his breakfast, Ishwaran asked if he could prepare something special that night because it was an auspicious night, a night on which food was offered to the dead. Mahendra agreed to it. Now after giving Mahendra good food that particular night, Ishwaran all of a sudden started to talk about supernatural things, ghosts and all kind of garish things. All of a sudden, Mahendra started to feel a little scared. And to add on to this fear, Ishwaran said that the place where they were sitting or were there now was above a burial ground. Okay, and many a times Ishwaran had seen a human skull or bones lying here and there. After which Mahendra was very scared and he asked Ishwaran to just shut up. Obviously he was scared, right? So he called Ishwaran crazy and he said that there are nothing as ghosts or spirits or anything. Okay. But Ishwaran told him that he was not scared of ghosts, but on every full moon night, he had seen an ugly creature with matted hair, shriveled face, holding a fetus. Fetus means an unborn child. Mahendra shivered at the description and now he called Ishwaran crazy. He asked him to shut up and he said that all these things were a figment of Ishwaran's imagination. Now Mahendra left the room and went to sleep, but obviously he could not forget what Ishwaran had told him. Okay? So obviously he could not forget, but then finally he went off to sleep and he thought that maybe Ishwaran would get angry and he would not speak to him for the next 2 days. But again the next morning Ishwaran was as cheerful as ever. But from that day onwards, Mahendra, even though he showed that he was very brave, he felt very uneasy in the night. Okay, and he dared not look outside. But one full moon night, Mahendra was woken up from his sleep by a low moan close to his window. Initially, he thought that maybe it was a cat looking for a mice, but the sound was too guttural and he could not prevent the temptation. He could not resist the temptation of looking out. And when he looked out, he saw the same cloudy figure which Ishwaran had spoken about, holding a fetus in her hand with matted hair and cloudy form. Mahendra got very, very terrified and he started panting. As he gradually recovered from this experience, he started to convince himself that maybe this was also an imagination. Maybe what Ishwaran had told him was now playing a trick on his mind. Anyways, he slept. By the time he got up in the morning, had a bath, had breakfast, he had forgotten what had happened the previous night. And just as he was going out, Ishwaran made a comment. He said, "Sir, remember the other day when I was telling you about the female ghost with a fetus in its arms? You were angry and you said that I was imagining. Well, I know you saw her yourself last night." A chill went down Mahendra's spine because Ishwaran added that he could hear him moaning. He was panting in fear and Ishwaran had heard him. So Mahendra did not wait for Ishwaran to complete his sentence. He ran to the office and resigned from that haunted place. Now we are left at a cliffhanger. We don't know whether it was really the ghost which Iswaran had said or something else. So it's up to you. You come up with a proper conclusion. Thank you and do like the video.